All right, let's get right into this. We're gonna talk about life, more on life, but we're gonna start with universality. And I wanna and before we even get into that, I wanna talk about something. I feel like through my years and through over listening to stuff and judging by people's reactions and whatnot, sometimes I feel like I actually get negated or I feel negated for simply for looking a certain way and looking better. I don't know what it is about culture, but like I'm not a girl. There's a lot of guys who are happy to be girls. Really, I mean, there are guys who are like, I would love to be a woman. I love to be a girl or a woman, man. Like, I mean, they got this independence. They're so cool and pretty and hot and everything. And I'll tell you, I've never been a girl in my life. And I don't mean that arrogantly. I just mean that factually. That I've never been a girl in my life. But there is that that thing in society where if there's a very good-looking girl, that she should be picked on. Because she's so good-looking. Naturally, people instinctively want to pick on her, right? Now, you can correct me if I'm wrong, throw in a comment, unless you, only if you know what you're talking about. Now, I've heard this word and I've watched some old documentaries and some of the older days, and in the recent like 90s and stuff and 2000s, there were documentaries and they go into like some of the baddest prisons and jails. It look for the baddest of the criminals and gangs, and the funny thing is that you would have good looking guys do stuff and get into gangs. And not only were they good looking, but it was like the word that they would throw out is narcissistic. They always associate anti-socialism and narcissistic with criminality, right? Narcissists are really the worst of criminals. You have your typical killer and then you have like a serial killer, and what do they call them? Narcissistic, right? You got a guy who sells pound of weed a month just to make enough extra money to live on and to smoke weed, and he probably has a part-time job which is helping him sell weed, right? And then like you have a guy who is they call him narcissistic simply because of his actions. Guy does an action, he has to be narcissistic. Why? This guy is not narcissistic. This guy is cool. He's kind of a loser. He knows who he is, and people feel comfortable around him, and people buy weed from him, and he's the coolest guy ever, and he always has the best bud. He's cool, all right? Right? You're defending him and all that, right? And then you got this guy, let's say he's slanging 100 kilos of weed every month, okay? Before you know anything about the guy, you don't know what he looks like, you don't know who he is, you don't know what he does. And before you know anything about him, the first thing that comes to your mind is he must be a narcissistic motherfucker. So for women, I'll tell you, for females typically, the first thing in their mind is, oh my God, who is this guy? I want to see him. That doesn't necessarily mean that those women are interested in those guys or want those guys, but typically the first thing they're thinking of, oh my God, I have to see who this is because he might be someone that I'm interested in. I have to see who this guy is. Women are always into narcissistic men. Another example I have for you, also not a girl, and you'll remember Vega from Street Fighter, right? Vega, it's funny because when I took like this animation, I had to take this course. I took a 10th grade animation course in my last semester of high school, and this course had we did animation. So for me, I kept doing Street Fighter animations. I was doing really shitty about work, by the way. It wasn't anything special. But my favorite character, even at that time, was Vega. I had watched Street Fighter, the animated series where he beat up Chun-Li, and and when she kicks his face or something, and his mask comes off and his face is cut, he goes, "My beautiful face, you bitch!" And he starts attacking her, And Vega also is narcissistic, and he's got long, beautiful. He's from Spain, by the way. For anybody that does not know, Vega in the Street Fighter was officially from Spain, which is Latin, and you'll know that he had this color hair as well. His hair was like this or a little darker. Okay, he had colored hair. That's what Latin people look like, man. All these, Ryu, Ken, all these guys were legends. These guys are based on real people. I know you don't believe me. These guys, okay, Fei Long, we all know because they stated that he was a spin-off of Bruce Lee, right? They couldn't get Bruce Lee himself, so they called it Fei Long, and they made their own character who was just like Bruce Lee. right? Ryu was supposed to be a real guy. He's Japanese. Ken was a real guy. He's a blonde American. You know, Gaia was a top class air pilot or something, or in the Air Force. You know what I mean? Captain Gaia. You know what I mean? These are all guys, believe it or not, these are all based on real guys. You might say I'm stupid. Sagat was a Muay Thai fighter, the super tall guy. You know, all these guys, and Sagat was Dutch. If nobody knows, he was fighting out of Thailand, he was Dutch. Vega was from Spain. Vega was the tall, thin, handsome, beautiful guy with this beautiful hair, like same hair I have, same face I have. You know, and he was a fighter and he used to wear the claw in his hand and he used to shoo, shoo. You know what I mean? And he did crazy moves. He'd jump off the fence and he'd go bam, try to slam people and stuff. But anyways, you know, my guy was Vega. You know, another narcissist, because the Street Fighter, he's basically a narcissist. He wears an iron mask on his face, not caring about, oh, how do I look today? No, he's got a mask on his face. You can't see his face. That mask is there to protect his beautiful face so that it stays beautiful and looks beautiful. That's how narcissistic he is. I remember watching a history documentary and there was a professional, like a criminal, like a guy, I don't know, someone in criminal justice, and he was talking about a really bad gang, and he goes, if you took all the worst narcissists and put them together, you'd get that gang. You know what I mean? So narcissism has always been shared. You know, antisocial is a typical criminal trait. I feel like, and I'll be honest, you know, the only correctional factor in some correctional facilities is that you know, if you're a real guy, if that's who you are, if you come in being a stupid kid, but that's who you are, by the time you leave, you will not be antisocial anymore. That's the only thing that they correct. The only thing they correct is antisocial, because if I'm antisocial because I hate everybody, like I'm dealing with all these weirdos and nerds on the outside, now I come here and now I'm dealing with the worst of people, and guess what? My antisocialism goes away. I'm not antisocial anymore. I've become social through this environment. This was the only environment that did it for me. Not school, not anything did it for me. It was jail that took away my antisocialism and did that for me. You know what I mean? Jail also checks your narcissism. You might be very narcissistic when you walk in. By the time you're done your bid and you walk out, you are not considered narcissist because you appear to be so realistic. You've been through this hard time that makes you more down to earth than anyone else, right? It kind of takes away that antisocial look and that narcissistic look. Okay. All right. What else can we talk about? So I wanted to talk about universality. Look, I'm not gonna answer certain things directly. Okay, what I said was enough there. You know, I got over 20 subscribers. That's over 20 people to correctly say what I'm talking about. Okay, when people screw with it. But anyways, we want to talk about universality, right? Universality is like, you know, I'm in Toronto, which is an international. Okay, no, let's do this. I'm in Paris, and I'm a great artist. Okay. I'm in the top of the top. I'm with Picasso and all that, right? I go to New York and I am considered one like on the same level as Ralph Lauren and Versace and all these big, I don't know who it is, all these big designers, fashion designers in New York, even though they're into fashion designing and I'm into art and paintings or something. You see what I'm saying? You see what I'm trying to say? And that's all I need to say to get my point across, and that's it. I don't even have to say anything more. All right. I what else can I say? You know, and I told you this yesterday that when I talk to a young person directly in real life, it's different. You know, I don't want to just talk over this and talk to all young people and all that kind of shit. You know what I mean? But yeah, that's it. You know, if I'm if I'm universally somebody, I'm somebody universally. You know, no matter where I am, I'm still that guy. I'm that guy, and I'm recognized wherever I am. Now, if you want to fuck with that systemically, you go and try. If you want to fuck with me systemically, you go and try. But understand the consequence. Understand that I'm there. You know what I mean? That's who I am. You know what I mean? So when you try to tackle me down and get me, you know what I mean? You better body me, dude. Right? It's a rap lyric, by the way. Anyways, we're done here.